sure, for sure.
Okay, so I actually know a little bit about you just because sometimes I just, click on around in Dota 2 and like some keywords I see as all like support and stuff. I've seen you like play some scrims. I haven't watched like full games, but I know you've been
Nice.
playing. And then also some one of the other people who asked to get coached by me said that you referred him, so thanks for that. And I think you were trying to schedule last week, right? And then it like
Yeah, something
accidentally.
happened, but I don't know what happened, but it just fell through or whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so I know you play support, so I'm kind of guessing that that's what like you're looking for the most, and if not, like let me know. But that's just kind of what I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Just 100% playing support for sure.
That's good. Can we get in Dota 2? Like come into my channel, the Fluff and Stuff channel, and then I'll like take a look at your profile and stuff.
Uh, what's the channel?
Just Fluff and Stuff, no spaces or anything. Should be user. There you go. Okay. So usually the way that I like to do the coaching is just in the beginning, like since you booked 2 hours, probably the first hour we should talk about you. Like, it should be a pretty long conversation about like what you feel like your strengths and your weaknesses are, like what you expect from me and of yourself, like your goals, short term, long term, and then I can like kind of give my 2 cents about that and like kind of try to show you a way for improvement or anything, whatever you feel like you need, and then
For sure.
like it can go on, it can overflow into the second half. Like, not saying it has to be 100% like 1 hour, 1 hour. And then the second part, what I like to do is I like to check out some replays. Like, I know that you probably play some scrims and stuff. Those are probably the best replays we can check out.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
Yeah, that would be really good. And then yeah, that I like those are the best replays. So like, we should probably look at a couple of them if
Okay.
possible. And to do that, I think you'll have to upload it somewhere where I can download it, and then I'll have to like put it in a folder manually to open it up.
Okay. Do you want me to do that now, or do you want me to do that after the hour?
We can do it. You can do it whenever. Probably like do it whenever we need it. It shouldn't take too
Okay.
long anyway.
All right.
All right.
You
All
want
right.
me to tell you about myself?
Yeah, please.
For sure. So, I started Dota 2 of May of last year, actually.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
pretty soon. Recently.
yeah, I played like Dota 1 for a few years, and then I decided to go into like online poker, like during college and stuff to like support myself. And um, went through college, and I graduated, got a job, and then at that point, I didn't really feel like I needed to play poker anymore. So I went back to Dota 2, and ever since, I don't know, at first it was just casual,
Mm-hmm.
um, but then I'm the kind of person like once I like get passionate about something, like I have a tendency to like go full out. So it just ended up being like since then. I think after like 3 months of just like getting back into the swing of things, I decided to like uh, see how far I could go. Um, I'm like 25 years old right now, so I mean I'm kind of old,
Mm-hmm.
but I am supposed to. Well, I was supposed to go to graduate school this year, but I decided to just like take the year off and then just see how far I can go with Dota, and if it's something that I can just enjoy for like a short term. Because I mean, when I was in Dota 1 days, I always thought it'd be cool if I were to able or ever able to play professionally or something. So um, I decided to just like work really hard for it for about a year, and then
Nice.
make that decision from there.
Hey,
But like
that's
I
really
still
cool.
have,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Oh, I still have like your standard like 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, but outside of that, I play Dota a lot.
Nice. I really like your story. I feel like Well, my first question is how long have you played Dota 1? Because like you're a Dota 2. I feel like you're pretty high in the
Uh,
lore.
Played Dota 1 for maybe like 3 years or something. It was when I was like really young though.
Okay,
I don't even remember the version.
but you kind of knew like where to pick up from in Dota 2, right? Like you weren't starting from the bottom.
I wouldn't say I started from the bottom. Like I knew like what the all the Dota 1 heroes did exactly, but um, like I would say like for sure though for like the past like since uh, October of last year, I've been
Hmm.
like working really hard. So like anytime outside of Dota or um, spending time with like my ex girlfriend at the time, I would be like watching replays and focusing and stuff like that. So um, been working hard on it. But yeah,
Okay, well, my impression is that you have a pretty good chance, although 9 to 5 does hurt. But I don't know how much like extra time you put into Dota like in your free time. But overall, I would say just based on my impression and the things that I've seen, you probably you're probably one of the more higher up students, probably the best student, I would say, just from my initial impression. So I really like that, and I want to help you. So like, are you comfortable like sharing your memoirs for everybody?
yeah. I hit. I showed it on my profile, but it's not showing up on your side. But
Oh, okay.
I'm 5.893 right now. I was like I hit 6K about a couple weeks ago, I think, and then um, went down on like the
Yeah,
usual MMR grind, just up and down sort of thing.
yeah, it's no biggie. And I know that you play on a team, is it or something like that? Or are you scrimming at least?
Yeah, I joined Meme Regime a
Oh, I
couple
know
weeks
them.
ago. Yeah, and I was on Team Out to Win like earlier before like TI6 qualifiers, and we kind of blew up when we faced against like EG and Open qualifiers and did all right
Right.
for the most part.
And did you guys play in the you played in the WSG, right?
Yeah, we played. We lost to IX Mike's team. That was actually one of the replays I was going to suggest we watch.
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. We should definitely watch that. And someone suggested too, like if you want, you can just email it to me, like all the replays, and we don't have to like upload it anywhere. Like it can be a nice package, but
Okay,
yeah, you don't have to focus on it right now. Just saying, so I don't remember. Don't forget.
for sure.
All right, so yeah, six K is pretty good for only playing a year, and that's probably yeah, just because like you said you got into poker, so you have a pretty good you, you go all in and like you really delve into your like passions or whatever. That's really
Yeah,
nice. And so you're playing what hard support?
yeah. I played the position 5.
Okay, and with no variance or little variance?
Um, when I was in my old team, I would play like 4 occasionally. Like when I would play like Lion or like Bounty Hunter. It
Right.
was like really hero specific. But in pubs, I like play the 5 like 90% of the time.
Okay. And your focus is the 500%.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And like, do you have any like goals, short term, long term goals?
I want to my my short or my short term for now was to get to like 6.5 and by January. I had the goal of setting myself to getting to 6K by the end of September, and I got that
Nice.
like early September or something. So yeah, and then in terms of like teams, I want to. I know I still have a long way to go if I want to like ever think about competing professionally,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to hopefully be on a tier 2 NA team by the end of next year.
I think that's a pretty achievable goal given if you have the amount of time to commit.
Hmm.
But I feel like the
It's a really high goal.
but I feel that it's not a I don't I think the reason why I like your goals are because are realistic and kind of they're grounded in something and you give yourself plenty of time And I do think a year is a long time, and I think a lot of things, and you can grow a lot in a year. I don't think that it's like unrealistic by any means.
Mhm.
So that I like those goals. I feel like by having goals like that, you're setting yourself up for success. So that's really good because sometimes I interview students and they're very unrealistic with themselves. Some people want to start from like 4K and be on a pro team in like the next year, things like that. So,
No, like I kind of had those aspirations when I first started, but like it's the type of situation where the more you play, the more you understand the game more and the how far the skill gap actually is. So
mhm,
I think my goals are they're pretty tough, but at the same time, it's still achievable if I work hard for it.
for sure. And so you play in a team. Do you take on any leadership positions, or you just kind of just doing your thing?
Actually, for the team I'm on right now, our position for shot calls and drafts.
Uh huh.
It's something that I've always been a little hesitant because I know that in terms of pure experience alone, that's something that I lack in because I've only been playing for a little bit of like a year.
Right.
But like as time goes on, I feel a little bit more um, comfortable, I guess, like shot calling in the early games, like just like calling out kills and um, smoking, swording, the usual stuff.
That's good. Yeah, it's like right now you're being humbled, like, and you can learn from other people. Do you feel like you're in a position where you're being challenged and like constantly being able to grow or learn from your team or anything like that?
For sure. I mean, I just joined Meme Regime not too long ago, so we're still trying to feel things out and trying to like work out like just like the usual stuff when you first join the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always like when I every time I try to join a team, I always try to be like I wouldn't say the weakest, but like I guess like the lowest MMR person there, and that sort of keeps me like humbled, but at the same time like trying to reach high, like because I always tell myself like I want to catch up to them, I want to catch up to them, and then I just go from there, I guess. But yeah, I definitely feel like I'm in a good situation right now where I could definitely learn a lot. Um, the rest of the team definitely wants to commit and work hard, so um, that's something that we're trying to do right now.
Nice, man. I like everything you're saying is, in my opinion, really, really, really good. Like top top notch. If you can just keep it up, like I think you're actually like on the right path. Because I always recommend people to play with people who will like raise them up. You never want to really surround yourself around people who are gonna bring you down or you're on their level. It's good. It's good that you do that. I really, really like that. So I'm assuming like because you're trying to make that transitional phase into competitive, like obviously pubs and competitive, very vast, like a lot. So like, do you want to learn more about the competitive side, or do you still want to like go back and learn like your short term goals to get to 6.5K? Like, what can I do there?
Definitely the competitive side because I feel like that's um, where I can learn more and benefit from the most. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, I want to do what's best for my team. So if it means like I'm getting a coaching session, I'd rather help my team out the best way I can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. Like, and also, in case you're wondering, I do coach teams from time to time. So if you guys are interested or whatever, like that would obviously be like a really private session. I wouldn't stream it, but like, I do
Yeah, for
that.
sure. Yeah, I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay. And all right, let's just get into like the basics. Like, what heroes are you really into right now? What do you play? Do you have any like weaknesses? Like you don't play some heroes that you should be playing?
Yeah, hold on. I like keep a spreadsheet.
Oh my god.
Let me open
Hey,
it up.
I know another support player who kept the spreadsheet, and his name was Stan King. And look where he's now.
He's a boss.
I have a spreadsheet as well. So it's like you're
I'm the
impressing
kind of
me.
person that well, I'll be honest here. I'm the kind of person that like sets myself up for like because I know like keeping a spreadsheet is what will help you out the most, but I'm terrible at like keeping it up long term, so to speak.
For sure. What is your spreadsheet what do you put on there?
It has my goals. So everything I told you before, like the short term, the long term, and
Nice.
uh, but like my goals also include like my Twitch because I feel like if I decide to not go into like the competitive world, like going into Twitch might be something that I would also enjoy.
True.
But yeah, so I have like separate goals for that. I have a daily log, which I have been doing a terrible job at keeping up with that
Oh
these
my
days.
god.
Which just says like what am I going to do today? What do I want to improve on? What did I learn? What did I accomplish? Any general notes? And then like the notes section, I'll put like any VODs or any like YouTube links, just anything in general where I can learn from.
Good lord, you're like the alpha student. That's bi- those are like such good things you're doing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then uh, and then on another spreadsheet, I have like a hero pool sort of thing. So like what I'm uncomfortable at the highest level, um, tournament slash scrims, playable, and then what I want to learn. So right now, like I feel extremely confident in Witch Doctor, Lion, Disruptor, Phoenix, Lich, Crystal Maiden, and like some position 4 heroes like Bounty.
Hmm.
Um, I know that like Shadow Demon and Oracle are like pretty much the top two clear tier 1 supports right now.
Yeah.
So I've been like kind of working hard on trying to learn that as much as possible. But I still don't have that many games on them, unfortunately. And then I actually been playing like Venge a lot too as well.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you already know, like, you should definitely be practicing those heroes. They're likely to get nerfed in some way,
And then
in the
next
future,
patch,
but
yeah,
the thing is, a hero is a hero based on what the skills are, not by some like random patch. So I mean, like you saw like Husker got nerfed a lot, but he's still very good. Heroes
yep,
like Shadow Demon, Oracle, Venge, Witch Doctor, Wyvern, stuff like that. They're very unique supports that they fill this defensive niche, and no matter what patch it is, even if they get nerfed, like understanding like why they're good and when you can use them will always be relevant. So it's worth it to put the effort to learn those heroes now, even if they might get nerfed.
definitely. Like that was so like when I started playing Dota, I would focus on like one hero, and then I got really good with. I wouldn't say really good, but I got comfortable with him to the point where I could start focusing on like more on like the support, like general support play and how
Hmm.
to improve on that, and less so on like the mechanical aspect of a specific hero. And then that started off with like Witch Doctor, and then like with the last patch before like TI and during TI that turned into like Disruptor and Phoenix. So now that's turning into like Shadow Demon Oracle.
Okay,
But
and
I feel like eventually over time I'll get out and be able to learn
yeah,
most of the support heroes.
that's good. I mean, that's just a matter of time, really. It's not like as long as you set your mind to it and play the heroes, you're gonna get the experience you need.
Definitely.
But it definitely helps to like understand, like maybe coming from me, um, I don't know, certain methodologies, I guess, about those heroes and how like you should actually be using them. So we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
Do you have any? I feel like what differentiates you from other students is that you're kind of good to go right now. So I feel like we should probably jump into the more juicy stuff, right? Like the competitive stuff,
Okay.
unless you have like any um things that are on your mind or things that you want to talk about.
Um, no, I agree with that. I would like to, like you mentioned earlier, I would like to talk about like when to choose like Oracle slash like Shadow Demon situationally and things like that. So um, that would be helpful.
Okay. So in your pubs, let me check your list again here. In your pubs, it seems like you have a pretty good mix of like I separate support heroes into like, there's offensive support heroes and there's the defensive ones. I feel
Hmm.
like I feel like you're alternating pretty rapidly between the two. How are you making your decisions? Are you picking these heroes first? Are you Like look, waiting to see if it's probably good for your team or if you need it or against the other team. How's it going?
Um, I will first pick about like 60 to 70% of the time.
Yeah,
Um, but it's it's definitely like I try to choose heroes that work well with each other. If I'm not, so like for example, like Witch Doctor, uh, I'll look at like the enemy team composition and also mine. Like if Witch Doctor is like a hero I love to play, but I know like in this meta, it's really difficult against
yeah,
like heroes like Timbersaw, Void, uh, Void, Timbersaw, Slark, like Ember in some cases. So I know like when to not choose those heroes. But I guess it's like a blend. Like I always look to play like Oracle if we have like a Huskar, for example, or just like a high damage dealer in general.
right.
Um, CM is a hero that I don't know. I don't I really don't understand, but for some reason I have so much success with her in pubs.
It's probably because you're giving so much efficiency to your teammates, and the laning phase is not bad as well. She has good kit, especially with clearing the camps and getting good XP. Like she can like kind of scale harder than other heroes. I
Yeah,
mean, what kind of build are you going for though?
I actually do a unique build with CM. I do instead of leveling Q, I do W E E W E. I basically max Frostbite and then the aura first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get my ult and then do Q as needed. I like prefer. I just a friend of mine introduced me to the build. Actually, you know him, Nick Cruel GGS.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he just introduced me to the build. He's like, "Yo, try it," and I really liked the shorter cooldown with the W spell,
Mm-hmm.
the higher damage. I realized that when I use Q, like I have a tendency to just like run out of mana really easily, having
Yeah,
like two different spells. So for some reason, it just works. I can jungle faster, just a lot of things in general.
yeah, for
But
sure.
I know Q's better like in team fights and stuff.
No, I mean I have had the same experience as well. Like my buddy Whitebeard, he was doing it, and I copied him, and I just noticed. I mean, I guess there's no logical reason, but it just feels right. So I
Yeah,
definitely I know what you mean. Like it kind of feels like it almost feels a little broken at times. The amount of the damage and the snare and the cooldown, just like locking somebody down the frostbite. It's really nice. Probably just keep that in your kit. As far as transitioning that to competitive, I'm not super sure, but I know that in the past teams would use CM in the first phase to like bolster some strategies, give mana dependent heroes like a reliable mana pool, and then in a lot of ways that can kind of be like very nice for your team. And to get that defensiveness, you could probably get it from somewhere else. So I definitely think just keep that in your repertoire. Like it can definitely make a transition to competitive as well, especially if it wins you pubs. So I'd recommend keeping it up. But
yeah. I wouldn't. I don't think my team would ever choose me CM in a
they should.
competitive match. I
Everybody
would,
loves CM.
yeah, everyone loves the mana.
I think it's possible to implement, but so as far as your competitive, what are you playing? Because I feel like in competitive, like even more so, you'd be playing Shadow Demon. Is that not true?
Yeah. Well, competitive, I've been like trying to force myself to play Shadow Demon a lot, and uh, I've only played a few games with my new team recently, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing like a lot of Venge these days as well. Uh, but yeah, like the replay I was gonna suggest we watch was like a Venge game and a Shadow Demon game actually.
Let's do that. So you can email me.
Yes.
I'll give
So
you.
do you know how I grab the files? So like I could download it through the client, but is it just like in a folder somewhere?
Yeah, it's in a folder. Let me see if I can find it. It's been a while. I think you find your Steam folder first of all. See if you can find mine. It's like Steam apps, Dota 2. I'm still getting used to my Windows 10, so it's like
No worries. I'm like in the same boat.
Okay. So do you know where your Steam folder's at?
Yeah.
Alright, go to your Steam folder, then you go to Steam apps, then you go to common, Dota 2 beta, it's still beta. Game, I think? Yeah, game, Dota, replays. And then you have to source the replay based on the match ID. And then you upload those to my email. I put it in Discord, and then I have to put it in my folder, and then I have to like run a console command. I need to look that up right now. I think it's like
Okay. I'll figure this out right now on my end.
okay. I think it's like play demo. Okay, I got it. You can also like if you want, you can rename them as well. Like it doesn't really matter, but it like it's just something you could do.
Okay. So like when I open up the files, it just shows. I think it's a game ID. So okay, never mind. I got this. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, you just have to match the match ID.
So it says I have to share it with Google Drive.
Oh, do you really? Okay.
Okay, it's uploading now, I think.
All right.
Okay, I just sent it.
Okay, I got it. Let's see. So which one first? The Shadow Demon or the VS?
Let's do the VS.
Okay. Just give me a second to transport it.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
I'll just download them both.
Okay.
Okay, let's try this. Play demo, and then vsg.dim. Oh god.
Yeah, this was the WESG game.
I'm gonna shorten the title. Okay, it should be loading.
So I'll have to preface this by saying like I have 20 games on both of these heroes
Okay.
in Dota 2. So uh, I think also like in one of the games I can't remember, but I one of my hotkeys were like screwed up, so like I accidentally like fucked up a lot of times.
Sure. This is oh nice sneaky Nyx assassins. All right. So
I'm just gonna. I guess I could just watch the replay on your stream, or
hold on. Well, where do you want me to begin? First of all, like I can talk about whatever, but
yeah, just
should I
whatever.
focus on you?
Yeah, preferably me,
Okay, let's do that.
not to be selfish or anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's your lesson. All right. So I'm gonna just start at the beginning, and then I'll tell you right now. This is usually what I say to people is when I watch replays, I kind of do my own thing, like scan through it. So in that way, you can like watch it off my stream. Obviously, there'll be kind of a delay, but what I like to do is I just go through it on my own because I don't like sync up at time necessarily and just like press play. I kind of speed through it, and then if there's like maybe a specific instance I want to talk about or that you want to talk about, we can sync up using the clock at the top, and then we'll just play one time just like normally how we would, but just only for specific instances or like a play or whatever it is. Otherwise, I'll just like give my thoughts, see what I see, and you can like direct me as to where you feel like I should be looking or where like you would like me to focus on at the same time. So we'll just kind of be bouncing around the replay. It doesn't have to be in a linear order. It could be pretty like anachronistic about it, and then I'll just do it how I do it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Plain Venge, standard build. Now this is something that might help you as well. Um, this is already from the get-go. Uh, in competitive matches, since you can communicate with your teammates, it's really nice if your other support can pick up an op for you. Because what that'll allow you to do is you can TP to your safe lane and put a ward up in your lane or wherever you need to put it, so you can get additional information, and you'll beat them. You'll beat them to the camp, so that there's a less chance that they'll disrupt your pulls or get a ward on the side, and you can like scout different things like that. So that's a really nice play to make. Like currently in the game, most competitive teams are using a smoke and a TP on at least one support to like, get some vision on the map initially, and they feel like that's really uh, nice for them. And like while you could buy two obs and a TP, I would say ask your other support to buy the obs so that you can have like a clarity at least, or whatever you need like with that 50 gold, whether it be
Yeah.
different situations, different heroes. Some heroes don't necessarily need the mana, so you can pick up a branch and you can eat it with your tree, so you get the extended regen. Clarity obviously for mana dependent heroes, and occasionally you can pick up a fairy fire if you know there's going to be a lot of like back and forth and you don't necessarily need any of the other items. So that's my number
Okay.
one. So because it looks like it looks like your Kunka did pick up the smoke, and maybe like some advice to him as well is he doesn't necessarily need to pick up that much regen. Like a lot of times the 4 position like really only needs maybe a set of tangos or so, sometimes even less, because like if you think about it, they're just roaming. It's like having a
Yeah,
tango in
they're just trying to
itself.
set up. Yeah.
He should kind of help you out a bit, at least for maybe a smoke and an ops, and that's pretty much ideal for you, because like what that would have allowed you guys to do in this early game is you would have already TP'd bottom, and like maybe you would have smoked a different direction, or you would have felt like they weren't coming to where your smoke was, and you would have found an opening or something like that. There's just like small little advantages there, but there's nothing wrong with you guys going to where you did.
Yeah.
And watch
Sorry,
some.
I'm just trying to remember this game. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, nice. You have a Venge. So I was gonna say Venge is pretty weak. Weak support by herself in general, like in lane. But you're gonna have that nice save potential versus the bat, so definitely think it's a fine pick. In the laning phase, one of you should pull. It's good. you had double. Nice, you get the first blood. That's nice.
And here come the sharks.
You go back for the pull. That's great. So far, the laning phase for the first 2 minutes looks clean.
So like theoretically,
Uh-huh.
I think I'm trying to remember in this game. Like our goal was to try to keep Bat from getting level 2 as long as possible,
Yeah.
just to like prevent him from jungling. But I felt like we used so much, like it kind of forced both of our supports to be down here when like someone could be helping out mid, for example, or just like roaming around in general. So we
Yeah.
weren't sure if that was the right call or not.
It's good for him to help you for the first, like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute. Like you're never really gonna shut Bad from getting level 2. I mean, he's gonna get it one way or the other.
Yeah,
That doesn't need to be a focus. It's more about like, can you sustain the lane? Because like I could see issues with your team if Kunkka like wasn't there, and the Bat probably could like run you over with napalms. That would be really annoying. But because Kunkka's there, he can't do that, and that helps a lot. Um, I think at a point he should probably leave the lane and like start helping out mid, because you kind of stabilize, or like the Bat's not really putting any pressure on you guys, and your gyro's like getting pretty good items up. Like he has phase boots and a 15 stick. I mean, he's gonna be pretty self-sufficient.
yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have the right sense of like not having this Kunkka here for too long. It's kind of it's not really the best use of time, but it's okay.
Because like we knew like WWD is like a really good player
Mhm.
and like our mid player. So like this wasn't our full team, by the way. This was just like 3 out of 5.
Right.
We had like passport issues or whatever with the WESG,
Yeah.
so we couldn't get the full team. But we knew that. I felt like we should have had at least someone helping him out mid, just to um, balance it out. I guess would be like the way to put it, or just like to help him get levels. Because I think one of the reasons why we lost this game was because Storm fell so far behind, and we didn't do a good job of helping him out.
Yeah, I mean it shouldn't like necessarily make or break the game, but it's definitely like an efficiency thing, because like truly in this patch you don't really want to have 3 heroes in the safe lane like all too often, just because there's just not enough farm to go around in XP. And if he is there, then like one of you, like either support, should be focusing on really maximizing the amount of XP that you're getting from the pulls. So like one person kind of dedicated to getting that farm and all that stuff. But I mean, you guys, your levels are pretty fine. So
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily bad, and I don't know if like if Kunkka did make a play in WWD, it probably would have been, it's
It's
kind
a
of a
bug,
random
so I
thing.
mean,
It's a
yeah.
random situation, so I don't think it makes or breaks anything.
Okay.
I'm thinking for your second war in the lane, probably try to push it up more toward above the
Closer to the tower.
yeah, because a lot of times that you'll get the information much quicker, and like the lane
Of the
war is
TP.
not as good. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd also like probably suggest, around the 4 minute mark or so, just put a word on the chicken, give it to your mid, so he doesn't feel as pressured. That'll help him out a lot, and that way you don't have to really rotate for that.
Okay.
Because that might play somewhat into his like psychology of playing the mid, even though it looked more or less like a 1v1. It's just like you never know.
Yeah. Like one thing I noticed that like whenever we went on like a gank on someone,
Hmm.
like another lane would be like immediately ganked right afterwards, and I wouldn't be able to help in most cases because I just didn't have the mana or just didn't have a TP or anything.
Yeah.
So in that situation, do you tell like your mid or your off lane to like play it safe for going in on another lane, or do you like just like give them advance, like play it safe, like we're about to gank bot or something?
That definitely is like the right type of communication. I mean, that's ideal communication. Generally, if you're making a play on someone, they're probably making a play on you simultaneously, or even a counter play. So like
Yeah.
letting people know, yeah. I would say probably the first like major mistake would probably be trying to defend the bottom lane. Like it seems like you did you watch the Blitz video? That's just like my closest way of to explain it.
Blitz
It's
video?
there was like this video on Reddit where he was kind of like it got taken down because he was kind of upset, but it was he was talking a lot about how people defend the safe lane towers and there's how it's very risky.
No, I didn't see that video.
Okay, so like the gist of that is that on either side of the map, the safe lane towers are pretty much the most risky tower to defend in like, the entire game because it's very easy for people to reinforce, flank, and come unexpectedly. Also, even just dive your tower straight up because it's so distant and the geography of the tower's position is just like not really a desirable engagement for your team. Like in under like 9 out of 10 circumstances.
Yeah, of course.
Like
I can see that.
probably the only like way for you guys to actually defend this position is if you had people there already and like possibly one T being in, but you always want to have a show of force if you're actually going to contest that. There's always a point in every game where like like one or the other team, probably usually both, will like decide to make a play, and it's usually like it's much earlier than it used to be. So like your laning phase kind of dissolved already by the point where it's like 8 minutes or even earlier, where they started. Once you notice that they're starting to like rotate multiple heroes into this lane, that's your cue to say like, okay, like let's rotate our gyro to their safe lane, and let's mirror exactly what they're doing to us, and put them in that position because one or two things will happen, or well, I guess three things could happen. Number one is that they trade evenly with you. Okay, nothing gained, nothing lost. Number two, they try to defend, I suppose, but they'll come in staggered, and you'll already be in position with your team. That way, you'll be able to like take advantage of that situation. And I guess number three, they might. I lost it while I was speaking, but I think
No
we
worries.
did. We did. You attack it. No, okay. It was attack defend was on the same. Was pretty much the same point. So they're gonna defend. You will attack, but you'll be in an advantageous position being there. So like that's like the most desirable position for you guys to be in at that point in the game. And any situation where like you guys are constantly reacting to this bottom lane and they're constantly smoking heroes, putting pressure on you, like you'll start to feel it when you think about it. They're actually trying to force you into that position where you can't run away, where you can't mirror their play, and then they can get a tower advantage, just based off like your, I don't know, like your inexperience or so.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
And like that does set you guys like really not super behind, but it's pretty behind because like now for every tower you assault, they'll be able to have the advantage of like having the extra tower, so they'll feel way less pressure. They'll be more likely to defend. It'll be harder for you guys to take those towers, and yeah, overall, it's like that's the first crucial mistake.
Okay. So in this situation, we would just give it up and then try to rotate top, for example, and try to trade.
Yeah, like a really nice play that you probably remember like C-Deck at TI, like, aggressive gyrocopter. He'll pick up like 6 or 7, and then that lane devolution point I was talking about, where they start assaulting him, like he completely avoids it by smoking to their safe lane with the support, and then just like diving their tower and then taking it. Like, that's like a really good position for you guys to put yourself in.
Hmm.
And like the way that as a player yourself can help facilitate that is just by having the smoke ready and like being like, hey, Gyro's hitting this power spike where he has his ultimates. He has a couple items. Like we should probably take a fight, but we want to take it, on our terms, not necessarily like reacting. So
Yeah.
you could do that, and like perhaps if their team's not necessarily like putting pressure on your lane, then you can say like, hey, my Gyro's you guys got the levels. Let's put pressure on this tower in our safe lane, and then just like see if you can take a fight in that way. But always be ready for them to like make a reaction. Like sometimes even though it's like on your terms, like they still can TP in pretty rapidly there. So you want to have enough people that you're not going to get overrun or like make a mistake. But generally, a gyrocopter he's a really fast-paced hero. He wants to be taking fights with his ultimate, like not on cooldown, but pretty much like I don't know, like one pretty often I would say. So
Yeah, it feels like whenever we play against like a really solid team, that a lot of, well, what I noticed, like when I play in general, just like a lot of our decisions have a tendency to become like reactionary because they're always like dictating the game and the game flow.
yeah, yeah.
So I always wondered what to do to counter that. So I guess like mirroring it, like you said, or trying to be a step ahead and dictate it yourself would be the best way to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. You ideally like you always want to be in that position where you've got the position yourself. What you can do is you have ward behind their tower or so, or giving vision of it, and having smokes ready, things like that. Like it's much better position for you guys to like constantly be forcing them around instead of being like waiting for them to make a move. But the thing is that in this lineup, they have a Drow. Drow's probably like the fastest like reliable strategy people are running. So like, I'm not surprised that every single mistake that you guys make turns into a tower or an objective, because that's just the way that it works. I mean, perhaps, the thing is even very good competitive teams, they still struggle with the Drow. It's not like it's something that you guys shouldn't be like necessarily like ashamed of. It's just like you have to play a much more crisp game to win against those kind of Drow strats. I'd say your early game's like just fine. I'd say you probably do have the heroes to fight against it, but in a way, like draft-wise, when I'm looking at it, Gyrocopter, while he's good at first undying and like even the illusions of ST, he's quite weak to Drow strategies just because he doesn't really have a ton of HP to work with, and even if he does, he gets shredded by all these right clicks. And then, secondly, Storm is a hero that doesn't really want to like participate in 5v5s. Like he's very weak in the early game. He wants to like farm his major item and keep slow pushing, and like I see the idea of picking the Storm. Like you see like they don't have much disable, but like when you're playing against a Drow strategy, you kind of need to anticipate the fact that they'll be grouping up a lot and 5-manning you. So, and the reason why I'm talking more about strategy is because like, it's not really a game where you could do a ton necessarily. For like optimizations, I suppose, like maybe taking a couple less skill points in Magic Missile, putting more in the Vengeance Aura.
Yeah, that's why I was going to ask you too about like is like the general skill build, is it situational, or because I remember watching a replay like after this game that someone put like just like 2 points into the Venge stun, I think, and then maxed out the armor and then aura or something like that afterwards.
Yeah, that's personally the build. Well, it's similar to the build I go. If you look at the scaling of it, Avenge can't really support too well the level 4 Magic Missile, and the stun doesn't really go up too much. Like I like to keep it like 2 or 3. It depends. The reason I'll level up to 2 by default, and maybe I'll do 3 if I need it to secure like a kill, like if that damage is necessary. But in general, I've been working with this new build where I level with the Vengeance Aura first, and it actually, like, I don't know, it's one of those things like the CM thing, where just like I've seen someone do it. It feels really good. The amount of pressure you can apply when, like, let's say that you take a team fight, the amount of pressure you can apply to a tower with that is really, really good. Like it speeds up your timings, or your tower, your building damage, stuff like that. And it also has that nice like little side effect of when you die, it kind of slows them down as well. But like I just find like as a Venge in this meta, I just treat him like any other defensive support, like except the trade-off is that Venge is like very likely to die, or it's a high chance anyway. So I kind of just like say, I don't feel like I'm gonna get too many items anyway. I have the stun available. Level 2 is good enough for me. My priority in this game is to save whoever needs saving, and I'll definitely give priority. Like in a team fight, I'll give priority to my 1 or 2 position, just because a lot of times people like they panic and they try to save a support, but you might end up like costing your team the team fight based on your incorrect decision. So like
Mhm.
that's how it is with all the carries really, or all the defensive supports really. You in your mind you should prioritize who's the target that you want to save like the most, and some of the other
Yeah.
targets you kind of have to be like, I'd love to save you, but number one, probably if they're going on you with their initiate, they're not picking the right target. Number two, if I do save you, then it leaves my other teammates vulnerable. So I just want to like, I'll give you this analogy that I use a lot, or it's like this example where imagine there's an anti-mage on one team, and there's a bloodseeker on the other team. Tell me if you heard this, but I use it all the time. So like positioning wise, if anti-mage gets ruptured, he's fucked. He's done for the game. Like
Yeah.
in that team fight, it's over. So he needs to be aware of rupture and the bloodseeker. So ideally, he doesn't put himself in that position to get ruptured ever. And if the bloodseeker ruptures somebody because he's impatient or he chooses to do so, just like I don't know, just randomly, then the anti-mage already knows like, okay, ruptures these, I can go and I can do my thing, and the anti-mage can be he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah. Put out more value.
But the bloodseeker's job really is to hide himself and say like, I mean, he doesn't have to hide himself, but save the rupture, knowing that if he doesn't rupture, then then the anti-mage can't contribute to the fight. So it's like this. It's this game of positioning, and I use it for defensive supports because that's literally what it is. I mean, if Bad Rider sees you swap, immediately he's gonna jump. The fact that you're not swapping means that it's gonna be way harder for him to do it, and it's gonna discourage him heavily.
Yeah. To not do it. Yeah.
Even if he knows like where you are, as long as you're positioned correctly, you're good. And the reason why I say to limit your priorities is that sometimes, teammates go in all different directions, and if you feel like you need to kind of be at the epicenter or like in equidistant to all the teammates, then you're spreading yourself too thin and putting yourself in a position where you're likely to get gone on. So what I do is I say like, who's my most important target, like either the 1 or 2, like I said, and I'll
Hmm.
closely follow them with knowing my range, knowing the positioning, knowing that like they're the targets that I'm aiming to save, and that way when you play these defensive supports, you're gonna find yourself like way less out of position in general, and that's just like a like, overall tip for any defensive support.
Okay. Yeah. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
When I see you guys actually take a team fight at 19.
Hmm.
So I'm watching. So you did kind of make a comeback there, but they had a 10k
Yeah.
gold advantage already. I'd say, like, the reason why I'm not talking more about it is just because you're kind of in this position where you have to play on the back foot, and most of your plays will be reactive. So, like, as far as
Yeah.
optimizing your own play, I'd say it's less on your. And this is how scrims go in general. It's probably less on your mechanics and stuff like that, and more about the overall strategy. So
Yeah. Decision.
yeah, but at least like there are things that we can talk about in the game, and I definitely like your item choice. Like I didn't say it, and this is for everybody as well. I didn't say it in the video that I made, but like on occasion you do have a slot, and Windlace is really good pickup for you, like in most heroes. So I like that you got that. I like that you didn't you went like no nonsense and you got the Glimmer Cape out, because like
I needed it.
a lot of a lot of supports would probably pick up smaller items or like waste their gold, but the fact that you have it even though you're in this position means that you're doing basically as good as you can. Like you're being the best support you can for your team right now, so that's really good. And as far as like smoke plays, I would say when you're in this position, oh, you guys did use your smokes pretty actively. So, but what I was gonna say is that like sometimes you're just stuck in your base. You can't smoke. Like if you go somewhere, they're just gonna counter gank you. I'd say just what I do is I just smoke myself and ward. But like the way to do it efficiently is I'll just be like, hey, I'm gonna smoke randomly. Like you don't, no pressure. Just do whatever you want to do. Like I'm just gonna smoke. I'm gonna smoke myself, and that way, like at least somebody else can kind of find a position to, farm or something like that. Like sometimes, let's say that they're playing like heavily around your side of the map. Like if you say I'm gonna smoke myself to ward, you smoke up a core. He like walks in the enemy jungle. He could be farming that the entire time for all they know, and they wouldn't like they would just be playing on your side, and you'd be
Yeah.
like you kind of equal. So it's like smoking yourself. There's ways to make it beneficial for your team in general. It doesn't always have to be some kind of crazy gank or whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I just like so like in these kind of situations, like
Mhm.
I feel like when you're down by a lot and like they have like obvious like map control and stuff, it's just really hard for me to figure out like what's the most optimal thing to do in this situation. So it just feels like I'm just like sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, because well, essentially,
So like in this situation, would it be better for me to just like stick to Gyro and just like be there for it, let him farm, and then be there for the swap if he needs it?
what you need to do is you need to like read their movements. Like if if for the most part they're coming to fights like pretty prepared. Like when they gank someone, it's not just bad plus one. It's three, even four. At times. And that situation, don't stand behind anyone because you're just gonna die. Like
Yeah.
you'll swap him, he'll just die. But let's say that like it's mostly bat plus one, then I'd say like say like hey Gyro or whoever it is, like try to push out a bit more confident than you would normally. I'm gonna be here for you. Like I'll just trade my life if anything. So then like if bat plus one comes and ganks him, you swap and then you just trade your life for him, and then that way like at least you'll be getting farm and it's not really gonna hurt your team too much because you kind of have to make more risks when you're in a position where you're behind, and that'll
Yeah.
help you a lot. But again, there are times where like every fight they go to, they're not willing to give you an inch. They come over prepared. They don't let you save them. Just don't even bother with that. Like I'd say just like maybe smoke out to their side, get vision like around towers they can TP to react to you guys with pushing. Get somebody over there, like do what you can. If you have enough space to stack ancients, that's probably like really ideal for your team. But like in this game, obviously you couldn't. Some games are like that though, where it's like very slow. All you have to do is just set up a stack and make sure it's dewarded, and that way you're just contributing to your team in that way, or like through the economy.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a really tough position to be in, and honestly, that is like people ask about that a lot, like the mid late game feeling like they can't do much, but that's kind of like the reality of the situation. I mean, you can't like you're there to save, you're there to like contribute to whatever moves are being made, and like anything other than like your positioning is just like actively feeding information to your team, like understanding where they are on the map, just kind of being a helpful person in general. So as far as like moving around and stuff, there's not a ton you can do. So that's just how it goes when you're like in this position.
Okay. Yeah, I know definitely how that feels like.
Yeah, I mean every support player knows what's up with that.
Yeah.
But there was basically no like not a single point where your storm was like able to come online and join the fight. So
No, the storm was
no
definitely a
point.
counter pick, and we all talked about it after the game. We're like, that was definitely it was not a counter pick. It was a what's the word for it? Panic pick.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because like we've never played with each other at that like as five
Hmm.
before this tournament at all. So it was just like a lot of wasted time during like picking phase and stuff, trying to figure out
Right.
what they liked and stuff.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing is that there's like a dual agenda here on the draft. Like on one end you have Gyrocopter, one of the like earliest fighting carries in the game, and then on the other hand you have Storm, who needs to split push and get items. So like you know gotta commit to one or the other really, because
Hmm.
they're gonna five man you down. Do you guys want to split push? Like pick that split push and carry, like avoid the fights, take it late, or do you want to like be able to fight them? And like you have to figure out how to make that work. So going in, but going halfway in one direction or the other is kind of like really set you guys behind because that like you guys did wipe them, you know, at their base a couple times, at your base a couple times. I mean, potentially if your carry was stronger than Gyro, even like
We
maybe
had a
with some more
chance.
farm,
Yeah.
you have a chance in the late game. Because you know their lineup's not necessarily scaling that all too well, but that is like a that is just a drafting thing. That's not like
Yeah.
something you can control really. But after the game's begun already. But yeah, I do. I like. I think your early game was fine. I don't. I wouldn't put too much blame on the Kunkka. It's not game breaking, but he should. The way the safe lane works is like you kind of want to get away with as much efficiency as possible. So like the least amount of heroes you can put in there is probably the right option. And use the. I definitely agree with the Kunkka being there though for the first wave. Just knowing that bad first Venge could be quite difficult, and even I would have potentially anticipated like an undying there. They didn't send it,
Yeah.
but that would have been really rough. So
Would have lost that lane for sure.
like it's the thing is that your gyro pick was fine in that respect because if undying did come to the lane, like gyro can deal with the tomb and whatnot, and your lane's not weak in 3v2 versus them. It'd be a little tricky, but it's not weak. So that's probably why they didn't end up doing it. Because otherwise, I feel like when they pick Undyne, they almost 100% wanted to send it over to you guys to put pressure on lane. But you might have like scared them away from that. But pretty much as soon as like you realize that it's not that dueling situation, just like rule of thumb, I'd say is outnumber them in the safe lane. So it's 2v1, 3v2. If you can make that happen, that's probably the ideal situation. Just so you create the optimal amount of pressure on the map, and
Yeah.
yeah, but
So like one thing I noticed is like when we run aggro or whatever, like
yeah,
since I'm not pulling as freely as I can,
hmm
then I end up being like having less farm and like less
yeah,
experience than I normally would. So like
yeah.
what do you know like so but like I guess putting the pressure on the carry is higher priority than having like getting your six earlier, or is it like hero dependent?
No, you definitely feel that because that's exactly how I would describe it. When you go for these aggro strategies, a lot of times your supports will be gimped. I mean, that's just the way that the strategy works. Like, there's no way that you're gonna have the same amount of farm and potential. So, like, you have to understand that risk. But the obvious trade-off is that your offlaner is now in the safe lane, and he's gonna be able to potentially get a counter pick or like get really good farm and come online earlier. So he kind of like fills the void that the supports would in that respect. So it's like in the early mid game, he'll probably be doing things that like maybe a support might have been doing while he's like farming. So like it, and that way you guys should like it's you shouldn't feel guilty about not being able to do as much, or like I don't know. It's just the way that it works. So my suggestion with that is like try to use the offlaner to create space so that you can probably like catch up a little bit. Like I know that you might be starved for levels. You might just need the lane for like a minute or two. Even just realize that that 3 position probably shouldn't be like shouldn't be playing like how he normally does. He should try to like help a bit because you guys will be behind and like let him know. And that way,
Yeah.
yeah, you can just like use that space. It's just a trade-off strategically.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't. It's obvious, but I didn't consider the offline that trade off.
Yeah, like usually the team that goes aggro try kind of has the upper hand because they get to pick the safe lane matchup. So like sometimes the opponent's off lanes like they have Iron Talent, for example, they can't lane as optimally, or you just straight up pick this counter pick and like that hero really needs to run away with the game and act as a space creator. So if that's not happening when you guys are aggroing, like definitely try to make that happen, or like consider that situation and just say like, hey, like we can get away with a little bit more greed here, or we can counterpick this guy like really hard, knowing the matchup. So Should I think about that?
Okay, that makes sense.
Alright, for that game, I'm pretty much done. I think the, ex- the explanation of it kind of ended around like 15, 20 minutes or so.
Hmm.
The rest of it was just, yeah, you guys didn't really have a capable late game versus their draft, and you held them off, but they had a lot of advantage. They didn't really make any like super big mistakes, I guess. I mean, for the most part, they were taking team fights rather than just like random skirmishes. So, like as far as openings, as far as you helping one of your cores like getting farm on the map, like just probably your single best option was smoking in their jungle and just farming it, and just putting wards up there and just make sure like if they do react, you can kind of get an idea that they TP'd back, and that way you'll be getting like the safest farm possible.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm ready to open the next one.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. So is this? Oh, okay. Oh, you. This was the team I was playing with in WSG for
Yeah,
fun.
in WSG.
With their full roster. Okay. So again, do you have it open?
I'm opening it right now.
All right, I'll just wait a bit.
Like one thing I noticed is like I have like a usually most of the time I have a good start like in the early phase,
Mm-hmm.
but then in the mid game I tend to like die a lot.
Die a lot. Okay. Was
Yeah,
that the case in this game?
yeah, I think I got picked off like probably a lot more than I should have.
All right, I'll try to keep that in mind when I watch it. So you loaded in, right?
Yeah, I'm loaded in.
Okay. First comment, same as the last one. Very first comment, starting item builds.
With the
Get
TP
get
and
your Kunkka.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Immediately you see that the Rubik is TPing top and he beats you to it, so that's like information that you haven't gathered, and it's a like easily avoidable situation. As for your Kunkka, if he says like, "Oh, I need boots," like you really don't. Secondly, he didn't do it last time, so why would he do it now? Just get the windlace. He did get less region, which is nice, but he traded it off for boots. Doesn't really make a huge difference, honestly. The way to use this first smoke, have him smoke your whole team. Like it allows other players to TP wherever they feel like doing it. He should buy an obs himself. You get the ward down. It'll help you guys feel a little more secure.
Okay.
That'll make a big difference. Like psychologically, they might see things like, hey, this morphling has morph, so like we already know in the first wave probably, he's pressurable because he can't do anything about us being there.
Yeah.
So, like all these little things will play a
Showed
factor.
our war too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you want to give him advice too, like I was watching Secret quite a bit. Emidale, MP, he like waits for his waveform. Like he waits for his first skill. I see a lot of people like dedicating their early game to this morph ability, but I feel like in a meta game where teams often dual lane, even tri lane morphlings, it's a big mistake in my opinion. So
Okay.
I mean, he can just watch it and see how he does it. But I like it a lot. Right. So Shadow Poison's great. You definitely like want to be taking that ability most of the time. Even it just does way too much damage. Like I told someone who can help balance the game that it's kind of broken. So
I would agree.
and so now so okay, this is a unique situation. So you said your early game's pretty good. Like I can glance over it, but or you want me to get like some specifics here?
No, I'll take anything, like any advice.
Okay.
I like in a. I guess I would have if there's a place where I've trouble in, it's definitely like in a first like an aggro try or like a dual lane.
Yeah. Right. So the main ideology or the main like thought process you should have when you play these lanes is that it's the same as like the dueling video I made with Envy. I don't even remember if you remember, but it's like
Yeah, yeah. Where you want to stack and pull the small camp.
yeah, you just wanna you need to think in your mind like the only target that's they can go on in this lane is me or my other support. So like a support really should not be out of position. I mean, if you're ever in a situation where you can get gone on, likely in the wrong you're in the wrong position. Like in tri lanes right now, the way it kind of works and the way it's kind of always worked is that the people who go first, if they don't get the burst off, they generally lose the fight. Because let's say that they go on your Morphling and they throw everything at him. All of a sudden, Shadow Poisons come in, Kunkka's Torrents come in, even you can disrupt if you feel like it, and it's an instant turnaround on their support because it pushes their supports out of position by taking that risk. So like, you should be thinking the same thing that you're thinking for yourself. Like, oh, if their support's out of position, then I can go because
Yeah.
usually that's the burstable target. So that's
Okay.
so always like try to keep yourself out of harm's way, and like probably the best thing you can do is like realize that while aggro tri lanes are scary, they're not necessarily like super effective unless they actually generate a lot of pressure on your carry. And a lot of times, if you can stabilize the lane, they're on a timer. And like, what I mean by that is, a lot of times in aggro tri lanes, the lane just dissolves where the supports get 200 leveled, the pressure is just not mounting up. Your carry is getting like decent farm, if not like sometimes the carry even gets like most of the farm really. And on top of that, you can pull, stack, deny creeps, and them sharing it between three heroes is really inefficient for them. And over time, they're gonna generally fall off. Like I would say in like 80-90% of situations, aggro tri lanes will fail if they don't generate pressure. So like
Yeah.
realizing that, keeping yourself out of position, stacking and pulling, not really worrying too hard about it, letting their timer run out, and then just like countering their aggression, but also keeping in mind that if a support missteps, to really take advantage of that. Those are going to be like the best things you can think about in those situations. And then like you'll see if they can't do anything, they just leave. Like that's basically what happens. And then all of a sudden, you're not in the position where you have to do anything. They're all inning on you guys. You just have to stabilize.
So like theoretically, I guess it makes a lot of sense to me to like you want to deny your own creeps as much as possible. When you're like against an aggro tri lane.
Not really
So
about denying. It's more about like leveraging the XP and gold advantage. Like every little bit helps. I mean, it's equal value you getting a last hit compared to a creep dying because like it's for them it's split between three. So like every little bit helps a lot, and then also just like every little gold that you get over their support is gonna help a lot. Like that's just gonna be the difference maker. Like, you get a couple of creeps on the small camp. All of a sudden you have a magic stick. All of a sudden they take a fight. All of a sudden this magic stick saves your life, turns it around on all of them. It's like all these little things kind of combine to make you the better lane.
yeah. So I guess theoretically, for example, like in this situation, if I stacked and pulled the camps, like
Mm-hmm.
any solid team, like the supports or whoever will immediately contest it when you're trying to pull it.
Yeah.
So in that situation, is it good to? Because I didn't think that. Maybe we could have killed him if they contested it,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like if we stacked and pulled the camp, like they would just contest it, and they would possibly get more out of it than we would.
Possibly, but the thing is that like the great thing about it is, and the reason why you're in the driver's seat is because you're forcing them to make a reaction to your play. So like
Mhm.
by pulling, you can communicate to your lane like, hey, if they contest this, potentially a supporter's gonna put himself like majorly out of position. And if your team's kind of like if your carrier's kind of like looking for that opportunity and not like dragging the creeps, like let's say that in this situation, if you pulled like maybe a carrier who didn't get communicated with would probably like pull the creeps, like he would just kite them around the tower, maybe even pull them north. But by knowing that, like with you communicating that they're probably going to be out of position, you can have him like kind of lean towards you guys or even drag the creeps to your pull, and then all of a sudden you have the numbers advantage, and then like their heroes are kind of displaced, and you're in like a fortified position.
So like in that scenario, I would ask the morph to come over and rotate.
You just say like, "Hey, Morphling, like keep an eye on this. Like we like try to be ready if we find a support out of position. Like just be ready to kill him right away." That kind of thing.
Okay.
Because like you know, that's why communication is a big deal for supports. Because like any normal person, any pub, in that situation, the carry would be like, he'd be like, "Oh, there's so many creeps here. I can't help you guys," or like he's like kiting around the wrong direction, whatever it is, and you lose those opportunities. That's why it doesn't really work in pubs. But if you can communicate it, it will.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, so it looks like you guys pretty much destroyed the lane, like with the void rotation.
Hmm.
Now it's this like critical point where I say that well, is this the situation where is this what you're talking about where you're like kind of under level and stuff? It's not super under leveled actually. You're
No, I
kind of
didn't think
fine.
I was under level this game.
Yeah, you're fine. So I'm watching your first play on the mid with the OD, the smoke. It's nice. It's perfect. And you seem like the tranquils a lot, right? So is that like something that you always go for?
Um, I've watched in what was it called? One of Stan was streaming, and I asked him like, why do you go tranks a lot instead of uh, mana boots on Shadow Demon? And his reasoning was like, you don't really need the mana boots.
Yeah.
Like you only get mana when mana boots when like your team needs it. And I assumed that Congo was going to get mana boots anyway, so I thought that I didn't need it there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good. Yeah, I'd say for a lot of supporters as well. Like just in the guide that I did or the video, I just like tried to make a little note there. I probably didn't emphasize it enough for people, but like a lot of times as a 5 you don't really need all these extravagant items. Like you basically need what it takes to get your job done at the most minimal amount of expense to yourself, so that you can be there for your team. So like I definitely like the tranquils because a lot of times people will save up for these arcanes and it takes forever, and it's like a lot of times not even necessary because they're not even using poison that much anyway. Like it really is just for your team. So like I definitely agree with his mindset. I liked that you guys. Or were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like in this situation, like now that we've won our, like I would say for the most part we won our tri lane.
Yep.
Morph was still under farmed by a lot though, like because he died a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But like in this scenario, do you look to, like going back to what happened at the last replay we watched? Would we want to like try to make a play bottom
Yes.
and try to like take the tower and stuff and push our advantage that way
Or
instead of like just continuing to farm?
yeah, you have two choices. You should either pressure their safe lane, or you can just go ahead and kill the OD again. Like if you guys can do that again, that's gonna be really nice for you. Like making these plays is not necessarily like exactly about the tower. It's more about taking a fight. Like so, if if you use a smoke and you kill the OD, it's just as much value as like making a rotation to the safe lane. It's just like you'll have to come back to that objective at some point. So I think you guys did try to kill OD again, actually, but it just didn't work out, huh? I think it was around
The 14-minute
14.
mark.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So let me see how you set that up. Did you? Looks like you smoked yourself and Razor.
1 second, I'm trying to get to the point.
Yeah, you did. 1335. So I would say, like, be more patient with that. I would.
Yeah, and just waited for him to show.
Yeah, I feel that like, as you smoke, like the majority of the time, unless there's a really quick pick that you understand that it's a high chance of success, I would say just like make sure you got the obs on you, because those obs are really gonna make the difference when it comes to like the success of the smoke ganks in general, especially at nighttime.
Yeah,
So
I was just about to say that.
you want to do that, and like you want to involve the heroes that are like the initiators, really. Like it's much better for your team if say you catch Void in the smoke compared to Razor, and you let Razor push the lanes out so that you can actually get the engage that you want. Otherwise, like let's say that you bring Razor instead of Void, then all of a sudden lanes are pushing into your side. You're not pushing out towards them, and like I don't know what another psychological like disadvantage of that is that if the Void is showing, like if he's pressured to push the lanes instead to get the fight, then like they know psychologically that there's no threat for me besides maybe Kunkka SD.
Yeah.
So it all plays into the psychology of the fog of war, and for that reason, I would say like let heroes that push waves out, unless like let's say that Void is still like happily farming bottom, pressuring it really hard. Like then in that situation, you can rotate another core to him because it's not really giving away too much, and that way he's kind of pushing it towards their tower, and maybe like heroes will contest, and then you'll be ready for that fight. So that's the main way to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think that, well, like you understand that in the early mid games, basically where you're gonna have the highest amount of impact, and until like these major team fights happen and you're like saving people. So you really, really, really want to get those smokes right, because in my mind, if you hit that smoke, if that smoke succeeded at that 14 minutes, it probably would have like stabilized the game for you, because it looks at this point they're getting a decent advantage. It's nothing huge, but it just means that they're having more successful engages than you.
Yeah.
You kind of want to trade, mono a mono, get the engagement for your side, and then like potentially pull ahead, if not equalize the advantage. So like everything like that really matters, and it's like okay to fail, but like you kind of want to. It's not necessarily failing, but you kind of want to like make that play and get something else out of it. So let's say that you guys like smoke bottom, and or even if you made the mistake of smoking with the Razor and you had the wards on you, at the very least you'd be able to get good position on the wards and set up for another play. So like everything you do with that kind of has to be like, there's a lot more thought that needs to go into it in terms of like setting up like a successful smoke. Because like I said before, even in the disadvantageous position, like when you're smoking for yourself to put wards down, at least you can hit other people. So it's like everything you do should be kind of like multifaceted at least.
Yeah. Try to maximize the value.
And then now I'm looking at let's see, the next play you guys make is bottom at 16, I think. Yeah, 16. Okay. So there's a couple things that are interesting about this engage, which is
the miscommunication with the disruption in the X.
Yeah, I mean that happens. I'm not gonna grill you about that. It's just like I guess it kind of snowballs in effect because your Void uses Chrono in the previous engagement, so you don't have that ability to pressure with it like on bottom. But I guess it was a reactive play that you guys made, and the chase was a bit too long, which made it like a poor decision. But
yeah, we got punished.
Like ideally your Chrono's up, and you involve your Void in a rotation, and like maybe your Morphling's just pushing the wave out. That Slaughter does the same exact thing, and then he gets killed there. Like when you attack the safe lane, the only reason why it's so advantageous for the attacker is because if the attacker is ready, it's just such a big positional advantage strategically. So like you whenever you make a play on that lane, you definitely want to bring like an overwhelming number of heroes there just to like secure it. And what you'll find is that a lot of times teams will like not react, and what you should kind of identify there as a support is be like, hey, I see them like they're not really looking like they're going to defend this, they're not posturing for it, so like since we're smoked or since we're in their jungle, like help me get wards out, and let's say like no one's defending this tower, just leave whoever needs to be there to defend it, like the Morphling for example, and everyone else is like, let's like get another position on the map or think about what we're going to do next. So like a really common mistake people make is that they'll go to that lane, they'll like, oh yeah, free tower, then like every 5 heroes are gonna hit the tower, and again like this the psychology of that, the fog of war, like they see you, they know they can get away with much more than they normally would, and that's like that's not a position you want to put yourself in. So like be kind of really thinking about who you're bringing, who's doing what, and like with the effect that it has on the game. So like in every game, I always think about like let's say if I was you and Shadow Demon the draft started without playing the game, I would say like okay, so in this game, there's a really high chance that since Morphling's such a good escapable hero, like unless Swordar's combining with like a really fat OD or maybe like a huge Timbersaw burst, like it's pretty unlikely that he'll get bursted right away. So like I'm gonna label him as like a lower end priority, and then
Okay.
I'll look at like my Razor, and I'm like, if Razor gets gone, he's helpless, right? He's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
There's almost no chance. So for that reason, I'll like put him in there, and then even like a third reason, and this kind of goes against what I was saying, but this is a dynamic situation. You have this Void, and saving Void potentially means getting your biggest team fight ability. So like definitely pay attention to him as well. So like I'll just think in my head like if we're in a 5v5 engage, it's pretty likely that like Morphling can either disjoint their damage or like some follow up Kunkka or whatever it is can defend him. I'll watch out for definitely like if Odie's pummeling him to the ground, but if not, like I'm thinking about the other two parties and like really centering myself around those two heroes and saying like, yeah, these heroes are the ones I need to protect, and these are the reasons why. And it's kind of just like a mental note. And then like as far as how that translates to the game is now that since you've made the mental note of who you're identifying as threats, then you can start looking at like the map and saying like, hey, Sardar showing or Sardar doesn't have blink. You can play up with Morphling because no one's there's no threat to you.
Yeah.
Inversely, they're thinking the same. There's no like Morphling doesn't have E-Blade. He's probably not going to kill me yet. Void Chrono. That's one of my big things. When Void Chrono's down, they'll start playing like more aggressive. And if you can notice those trends, or at least play around the fact, and not be like super wasteful with like your big initiation abilities, then you'll be able to control the map in like a much more subtle way. And in a lot of ways, that's more effective than like a show of force because it's like a mental game where they have to actively weigh their risk and reward for making split pushes, and you in turn can like make informed decisions based on how they're moving and what you see with your vision, like to tell your team like, hey, this guy he's not able to gank you, like you have nothing to be afraid of, or like let's say that it's like kind of the mid game, and it's like the main way that Morphling would die is like a blink sword and like a Timbersaw. Because right at that point, like Odie's not really putting out enough damage with a Sword Crush to burst a Morphling. So like, if you say like that, you'd be like, okay, if I'm with you, Morphling, like there's nothing, there's no way they can do anything to you. So just like play up, play confident, whatever. Just like things like that. Just catch your void and be like, hey, like you're showing like they're gonna play differently because you're showing, like be aware of that, things like that, and involve that hero in the smokes and stuff, and then that'll help a lot with like maintaining a pace in the game. And what you'll find is like very naturally as your cores like feel more confident to push out, or they have more information, or that you allow those cores to push out the waves instead of involving them, you're gonna see more of the map because they're pushing these waves out, and you'll be able to make better decisions as a support, like where you can move your team and yourself and your wards and things like that. So it's like that's probably like one of the biggest things when it comes to the mid and late game. Just it's not necessarily like what you're exactly doing, but more about like what you know, and then like using that against them.
Okay. That's a lot to wrap my head around. I'll have to watch the replay later.
Yeah.
No, but I never thought of it that way, so that makes a lot of sense actually now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the same goes for you. Like you might say like, oh, it's just a couple of waves I'm gonna show myself. Now they're like, oh, SD's not camping them. Now I can go. Like there's things like that too. So you
Yeah.
really need to think about what exactly they see.
Yeah, one of the things we definitely talked about, like in like after these scrims and not, one thing we noticed was like a lot of like high level players, like especially the support players, they have a tendency to not show themselves in lane,
Yeah.
and it's now that I think about it, it's like it's all about like the mind games and stuff and making them feel overconfident, and
Hmm.
that's what can lead to like really big kills and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember there was a really big match I played versus C-Deck at ESL New York, and like they were the masters of it. They would appear somewhere, or they would bluff that they're in a position, and all of a sudden you'd say like, oh, that that sniper can't push by himself like that. Like
Hmm.
there's no way they're not all behind him, so let's go farm here. And then all of a sudden all the four of their heroes would be there, and then would get picked off like simultaneously while he's doing like the greediest thing possible. And then at times, we'd be like, oh, he's doing that greedy shit again. Like let's go punish him, and then they're all there. It's like
Yeah.
you have to mix it up. You have to know like what's in their mind, and like if you let's say that you bluff them a couple times, and then all of a sudden they go for that play and you punish them. Like now in their minds, they're way more timid about doing that, and you can play off that psychology.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is a lot for the supports. It's just like you really do have the most time to kind of analyze the map. Just it like you don't necessarily need to be like the smartest person on the team. Really, it's not about being smart. It's not about people being lazy even. It's just like you legitimately do have the most time. That's why the supports often like say the most, and like in a team environment at least, the cores kind of tend to say more of the macro decisions in terms of like taking a fight or like doing something in the moment. Just like leaving that up to them is fine. Just feed them as much information as possible. And like I think one of my students, he was like, hey, I watch Soneko play on player perspective. Have you ever watched him? He's like a maniac. It looks like he's on
What's
like
that?
cocaine.
Yeah.
He's you can bet that that's all deliberate. Like everything he's doing is he's not just wagging his hand around to show off. Like
Yeah, of course.
he's really feeding his team information as much as possible. And honestly, that's super hard to do as like a four at times. Like I don't know how he does it like so well. He's probably one of the best.
For
But
sure.
if you can do that, I mean that's basically what you need to do on like the most extreme level possible. Like if that literally is the most extreme example. So and
Makes
then
sense.
yeah, I mean so like occasionally there are games where like every move you make like succeeds and it's an easy game and you can just control that position. Occasionally like you'll make a mistake or you'll be slightly behind, like in this kind of situation. And like really the difference maker and the way that you inform your decisions is based off like
Yeah.
how they react and how you can like not be passive in that moment. Just like it's easy for teams to feel like they're slightly behind and like really 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 just get plugged up in their base, but it's kind of up to you guys to feed each other information and learn like what's safe and how you can push your limits, because that's how you get yourself back in the game. And then like really just not feeding them that gross team fight and or letting them sneak Roshan. Like having, I like that you have smokes ready. Like I would say that that's like the advice I give to a lot of people. The
Learned
smokes.
that from your video.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like it just saves you so much time and effort, and the success rate of your play just shoots up drastically by having it with you. That's why I preach this minimalist stuff, because that could be a magic stick or whatever it is, raindrop, but it's like at the end of the day, it's not the most important thing for your team, and you're like the person who really has to operate on that level where you're just poverty and you're doing everything bare minimum. Because I remember when I first started getting to Pro Dota, I used to watch like these e-home players, and like they would have this vengeful spirit who rushes a mech, and I'm like, why the hell would you do that? Like you have no mana. Like I would
Yeah.
flame like get arcane boots or something. And it's like I don't know. He just understood at the time. Like he was a better player than me. It's just like if you can get away with picking up these crucial items and like really setting yourself up in a position to do like the absolute minimum, or I don't know. It's just like way better. It's more efficient for your team. Like it could change the fight. Sometimes people will just like they'll literally carry a mango just so they can get it off. You know, mech's less important these days. Back then it was kind of like back then the reason why
Core.
is that if you had a mech and the other team didn't have a mech, you're at a severe advantage in the team fights. So like, and it got nerfed like several times in the past. So it's kind of like that's why it's at the point where Force Staff and Glimmer kind of like rule that space. But yeah, just like sometimes I'm like, this game needs a Glimmer. I'll get Glimmer first, then I'll go back for my Arcanes just so I can like support it. But it's like sometimes it's like you get the Arcane, then the next item just never comes, and you like psychologically when you're closer to an item, like let's say that you have the hood already and you have like 500 gold, you're like, oh, I'm 1,000 away from Glimmer. Like
Yeah.
if I make a couple more plays, then like I'll get it. It's just like, but if you have Arcane Boots, you're like, oh, I'm 1,900 away from Glimmer. I'm never getting it, and then you just shut your mind off to the possibility of like being useful to your team. And then again on that note, with like the smokes, there's like this psychological trick, and I teach it. Everyone knows it. It's just like I guess it's not been like scientific. It's not like something people like really think about. It just kind of happens. It's like when you smoke someone, their mind like instantly lights up and they're like, "Oh shit, what are we doing?" And then like all of a sudden
Yeah.
you can just lead them, direct them like that. That's what you want to do. Like as a support, I'll like impose my will on people, where I'll just be like, "I want to go here. I want this guy to go there. I'm just gonna smoke right on top of him and draw a line." And then like most of the time, if they don't cancel their auto attack, or if they cancel their auto attack and they don't hit the creep and break it, they'll like follow me because people understand that smoke's like such an important item, and like they don't want to be wasteful about it. And across all skill ranges, like people understand that it's a good item in general. So like it's really important to understand the psychology of it.
It works so well in pubs, actually.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that's like game winning stuff. So it's just like
So,
that's why it's a core item. Uh-huh.
so in this game, in terms of itemization, what would you go here? Like, would you go for like the Glimmer or like Force Staff Dagger
Well,
if you were in my shoes?
see the thing is I'm still learning as well. So like sometimes the things that I'm thinking at the moment don't necessarily reflect like what I've said in the past. But like I've been really right currently I'm thinking a lot about this blink dagger, and the reason why is because like even though like potentially Glimmer is kind of useless here, Sardar, Force Staff like it might push them a bit away, but it's like more importantly disruption. That's like the key utility for my team. Like potentially I would save up for a blink. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it enough, but I feel like there's enough reason to justify going for it because it might like in some cases it might just be like the only effective item or even the most effective item. I'm not sure. So like I would say definitely not the Glimmer this game. Uh, I'd say like a Ghost Scepter is even a viable option. Like if you really really like the main thing stopping you is just getting bursted down on the way there.
Yeah.
Uh, with these defensive heroes, like the great thing about them is that like they have innate abilities. So like getting the Glimmer or Force Staff is not necessarily like the highest priority on your target. So like if you need additional help to like with the Blink Dagger or whatever it is, or even you could even justify Force Staff for the same reason, just like using it as like an omni tool to get the defensive and the aggressive
Yeah.
out of it. So like that's good. It's kind of just like I always just base it on what I see, and in this game, like you know, even in games where like they have detection, like I'll still get Glimmer sometimes because it's not just about the detection; it's about the mitigation. And like I know that if their team had like a lot more magic damage, even if they had Slaughter's Amp, let's say they had like a Venomancer or a Zeus or something, like it probably would be the right choice because like overall it's not really about the invis, it's more about the saving grace aspect of it. So
For sure.
that's how I make my decisions. And I try not to like let things like that discourage myself or other people, just because like I don't know, for whatever reason people are like oh, they can see you. Like, what's the point? But I think that's just like faulty logic, because like there's a very logical reason why you would still go for it even if they can see you.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I actually have to be somewhere in 15 minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
But I definitely learned so much from this, and I really appreciate you taking the time to walk me through everything.
Yeah, no problem, man. And sorry, like again, sorry, like the timing. That
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry about it at all, dude. I'll probably like take what I learned, try to apply it, learn from it, and then probably reach out to you again for another session if that's okay.
okay. So yeah, on that, like I'll just do this real quick. So like for everybody out there, like I shut down my coaching thingy because I was accepting way too many and it was kind of getting overwhelming.
Oh, shit.
So I mean, I still do want to coach and stuff. It's just like not for every single person that asks. So like if you really, 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 really like, I love students like Trey because like he's got his shit together and like he's trying to go like above where he is and he has aspirations for that. So I really love that. And if you're like that kind of person that you like, you don't really need my help with like the basic level, then yeah, definitely reach out to me. Like go to my email, go to my Twitter. Like that's the best place to do it. I make exceptions for people who are exceptional. And like, I mean, you don't even have to be like, just assess yourself fairly, you know, like you're not a, if you really, really don't need my help exactly, like it's not worth, I'd have to charge a lot more actually because it's just like it's just too difficult to keep up with the demand. So like that's just how it is. So I'm trying to limit myself a bit. But yeah, thanks Trey. I hope I didn't take too much time from you.
Oh, not at all, man. I really appreciate everything.
All right, and you
So
don't
yeah,
go ahead.
what's up?
I was gonna say you don't mind like if I upload it or anything.
No, of course.
Okay, because it's helpful for everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll reach out to you offline or something, and
Okay.
hopefully talk soon.
All right, man.
Thank you. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too. Thanks. Okay, guys, that's my lesson. That's generally how they go. Um, like it's a lot of talking, but I feel that you learn far more from having a conversation than you do from like a bullshit plan. And I don't know. I don't necessarily like. Okay, I can answer some questions. That'd probably be good. If you guys want to ask questions right now, just can you re-ask them? Because I don't want to scroll up. Just because I probably missed like an hour and a half worth of chat, even though it might not be that much. Just let me know. Okay. Can you talk a bit more about the spreadsheet thing that you guys mentioned? Well, there's no one spreadsheet or like correct way to do it. And in fact, the way that he did is not exactly how I do it. Not even remotely like in the same universe of uh it's not really in the same spectrum. Well, it is in the same spectrum of Dota, but it's on the opposite sides of the spectrum. I use my spreadsheet for analyzing teams and strategies and oh, hold on, god damn it. Yeah, and so anyway, I was getting thanks for the resub, Strongfoot, by the way. Okay. So many new subs didn't show up. What the heck? Really? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna answer you in a second. Let me keep that. Remind me. I'm just trying to look. On my thing, it only says Strongfoot subbed and Chili Bean. Oh, and Fubwubs. Fubwubs. Henderson sub. Camp sub. Thanks, dude. Hey, I don't know what's up with it. Let me reset my alert box, I suppose. I don't like that wasn't intentional. I didn't turn anything off. So let's just send a test.
Thanks.
Okay. I mean, that's my test. That thing is so big. What the hell? Okay.
Nice. Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, I need to adjust that. Okay. All right. Yeah. So thanks for the subs, guys. I didn't even see it at all.
Thanks.
Oh my
Let's
god.
try again.
I'm answering a question, Nipple. The hell's it? 150 seconds. Alright, good game. I'm not gonna listen for the whole time. Yeah, I'm trying to answer his question. Okay, we'll turn the volume down. I mean, I actually can't focus right now. I'll answer your question in a second. He really, really wanted this, so I'm gonna roll with it for now. Like, this is actually... I can't make it less loud. Like, what the... Okay, Nipple. There you go. You got your cancer. So I will get to your question, I swear. Alright? Let's just do one more thing here. So I'll repeat all the subs and let's... Oh, Averin, thanks for subbing, dude. I didn't see that either. What the heck? Jeez. Okay. We'll do a mass sub thank you.
Nice.
Thanks, Averin. Thanks for subbing, man. Sorry, I didn't notice it. I don't know why it didn't work. And I said thanks to Strongfoot. Camp sub. Why isn't...
Nice. Thanks.
Oh well. Let's get some gotchi golds and fluffy W's in the chat for all the new subs. Thanks, boys.
Nice.
I appreciate all of you. I really, really like that we have some new subs. Like I haven't seen Fubwebs is new, Averin's new.
Nice.
Welcome to the family.
Thanks.
Fluffy W's and gotchi golds. All right. Okay. Anyway. So let's scroll up a bit.
Thanks.
Okay, the spreadsheet. So for him, his spreadsheet was more about like his goals. He like it's very important to write down your goals in terms of
Thanks.
like it kind of reminds you to do the things that you need to do and keep yourself accountable when you have it written down, and it also like creates a solid link in your mind where you're able to you know make
Thanks.
Can I get a what would a nipple my sins butt?
$20, Henderson. That's like the biggest donation I've ever had, I think. Thanks, buddy. What a bro. Okay. And I do click on your Snapchats from time to time, just kind of, you know. I don't use Snapchat, so I don't really send anything back. Okay, so like for his spreadsheet, he was like putting VODs and like he's a pretty smart guy, I feel. Like I know he graduated from like a pretty nice university in the United States at least. So I felt like maybe his skills and whatever he was studying probably translated to Dota, but for him and on an organizational standpoint, it was more effective for him, or it's like it is effective for him to write down what he's doing. Like he said he had a log there, a daily log that he was struggling to keep up with, but he kind of, you know, kept up with. And he wrote his goals. Like it's really good to have goals, but the difference between a goal and a dream, it really is that a goal is something that you're working for and it has a direct like path to take. Like there's steps that you need to take to reach it that are like explicit, and that it has the explicit time like of reaching, like there's a specific timeline there. whereas a dream, like you're just like, oh, it would be nice to do this or that, but I don't really, I don't, I want to be a competitive player, but I don't play any competitive modes. I just play pubs, or like I want to be competitive, but my MMR is too low, and like people don't accept me and stuff like that. Like you have to really be realistic with yourself there, and I feel like he was being realistic with himself there, so in that way it's helpful. And he was saying like, oh, if there's something that I want to watch or something like that for later, I'll just put it in there. Like spreadsheets are very versatile. I learned like I never used to use spreadsheets up until like 2 years ago. My spreadsheet personally, I use it for like data tracking, just for my own performance, my team's performance, other teams' performances, and like looking at it when I'm like trying to anticipate an opponent in a match, and that's like very helpful. But like I use that mainly for tournaments and not so much my everyday life. So that's basically what it is. It's just you can do a lot of things in spreadsheets that make it, I don't know, more worthwhile than a Word document, for example, because you have tabs. You can calculate values, uh, things like that. And I'm a basic user. I don't even know how to use it super well. I just Google everything that I don't know. And yeah, it's like for everybody, I would say like his method of spreadsheet building is probably more effective for you. So there's that. How have I been lately? Fluff? Thanks. I've been pretty busy, Henderson. Trying to be a good big brother. Like playing Dota, I kind of ignore my family at times. So my brother's 10 years younger than me. I'm trying to be a good influence. Plus, he was having trouble in school, so every day I was like, I'm literally doing like seventh grade homework for like a couple hours a day. So yesterday was like 7 hours. Uh, I don't know what Twitch Prime is. Weezing asked Trey what his hero pool was like and what his goals were. Oh, okay. I see. Uh, this reminds me of the good old Fluff streams. Oh yeah, with the cancer. Holy shit, Fluff can eat this week. What? Oh, nice. I really can. Dude, I bought a lot of groceries yesterday, so that'll cover my steak that I'll eat. Like 2 steaks, really. Yeah, what's up, Dakota? Weezing says, if most carries in pub games will not help you contest pool because they're taking creeps, for example, trialing versus trialing, how do you avoid the situation as a carry or communicate to your carry in order to have them help and kill your position with sports? Well, it's kind of like what Slack said in his communication video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like this. It's like you gauge on your team who is responsive, at least who can hear you, and you do tricks to like get them to speak up, like addressing them directly. And in doing that, you'll understand whether you can account or you can count on that person when the time comes where you need to communicate effectively. And if you're like having this lane with your carry and he doesn't respond to anything you say, then there's a good chance that you just don't make the play. Like you let's say like you do pull, you do what you can do on your end, but you don't account for him coming to you. So like you don't initiate on them when they're out of position and whatnot. And you just react. You just react. And you do the best you can. I need to drink some water. I know if your carry can wave clear, I have him auto attack the wave, but if it's a fam assassin or something, does she lose the wave to the tower? Is the kill worth it more? The kill is worth it more because ultimately, if you pressure them out of the lane, then they're less likely to return, and if they do, they're probably going to be heavily gimped compared to the previous version of them in the lane, with regen and whatnot, and XP being on like somewhat equal terms. So yeah. Do I do my brother's homework or tutor him? I tutor him, kind of like a hard ass. Just like I don't like give him room to like be lazy or whatnot. It's kids are like that though. I mean, even some Dota players, just like you gotta kind of push them a bit. Teaching him some tricks that I really wish that I knew back then, like speed reading, for example. It's like, God, I remember in school I used to read books, and it's like, boy, this book has so many words, and I read them word for word, and like, it would just take so long. I was like, dang, I don't want to read anymore. It's so boring. Like, it's gonna take forever. So I just didn't. Like, I literally read one book through up until like I was, I don't know, like a junior in high school, which is like the second year before you graduate. Like, I use Spark Notes and stuff, but like realistically, what you can do is you can just like skim. There's nothing wrong with skimming. You skim the important details. Like, we're reading a book. It's a murder mystery novel about someone who died eating chicken and waffles. I'm not even kidding. And one whole chapter was about making cornbread in a murder mystery novel. And I just showed him that, like, look, this is cornbread. This doesn't matter at all. Like, this, your teacher's not gonna ask you about it. And if she does, you can just come back here. You know what it is. It's like, f this, okay. And then we did 4 weeks of reading in like an hour. Like, that was it's just like, I don't know. They don't teach you how to do things correctly in school. I feel like it's like such a big advantage to know how to speed read. Fluff, I have a question. Let me type it. I hope you typed it. If not, I'll just look out for it. My brother's 10 years younger than I am, and I mostly play Dota with him as I hang out since I don't live close to him anymore. That's cool. Nice, man. Stay hydrated. It's so hot in California this week. It's like 80, 90 every day. American Fahrenheit. Wait, why did you ban I'm Revolution? What do you say? Unless he's like a robot, don't ban him, dude. What did he say? Any advice on when to or not to draft Shadow Demon, or is he pretty versatile? He's pretty versatile. He zones out like majority of heroes. He works with a lot of strategies. I'd say he's not like, oh, I got him, like I win the game kind of hero. So like, if you have no other value priorities, probably take him. If you do value other heroes, like, I don't know, say like OD right now is pretty popular. Like, you take OD over Shadow Demon, I think. Fluff. So I just got a team with some guys who are better than me, and they wanted me to play 5. Shot call and draft. How do I improve at shot calling other than shot calling in the games I play? How about drafting? That's weird that they want you to shot call and draft as as an experienced player. I feel that like as a drafter you'd grow more by being around somebody who's a good drafter compared to throwing yourself in there. And like, I don't recommend that you draft, and if you do, I would say copy what good teams do, like team that you admire, and then like cross-reference your team to what they're doing. So, and that way you'll understand somewhat what kind of calls you can make generally. I mean, obviously the game's dynamic, but as someone who drafts, you want to limit the amount of factors that can go wrong. Like, especially the draft itself, because sometimes you don't get a good draft and the game's just over. Like, you much rather lose with a draft that you kind of know like has all the things that it needs, like a pro team's draft, you know. So cross-reference, relate your experiences to their game, understand why they're doing what they're doing, and then vice versa. And that'll help you improve at like everything that you mentioned. It was a virus link? Son of a bitch. Good job, man. Free virus PogChamp. You said to base support items on what you see in the game. That being said, is it worth building straight damage on supports in most situations? Then less specifically Dagon. No. For example, I've seen Dagon on Oracle because I felt like the team was liking burst for specific heroes. It's not your job, man. If you lack burst and you're like gimping yourself, I mean, like if you let's say that if you're luxury and you're rolling in the cash, like yeah, go ahead. But if you basically have no items and you're like rushing Dagon, don't do it. It's just not your job. Can I play the Gotchi song again? I didn't even know that was the Gotchi song. Solitude says, which supports do you like to play the most as position 5 when you feel like being the most aggressive in Devi? Oh, I like playing Disruptor a lot because he's like in pubs, people are constantly out of position, so it's like I can really really punish people and like it feels really good to hit the combo. Like it's so satisfying, especially when I hit it on multiple people. It just makes me feel really good. Like if I can hit a nice static storm into kinetic field, it just makes me feel like it's like this really really nice feeling. Okay, then like the other one I'd say is probably like Lion's a standard one. He's just kind of boring for me now. I mean, he does everything fine. Like he gets kills and whatnot. He gets blink dagger, but it's just like it's kind of boring hero. I feel like it's not fun. Uh, I love playing Silencer sometimes because I can steal people's intelligence and like his spells are really strong. And like if I really want to go divine, this is more true about the past. I would play Abaddon as a 5, and then I would just like I don't know, like for whatever reason I would just win my lane. I don't know if his kit works that way or what. Like I didn't have a reason. I just liked it. Because back then the theory was like, oh, you pick some tanky asshole hero, and that's your support, and like it was like ogres and stuff and Abaddons. I was like, okay, and I picked it, and I just win my lanes, and then all of a sudden the game was just like super useful, and saving people and like pushing towers. I was like, holy crap, so good. Off-topic question: can you tell me a few of your favorite movies, off the top of your head? Okay. Well, now I'm getting nervous. Not nervous, but I don't answer this enough. I think. What's that movie called? I thought. Well, I can tell you my favorite directors. I love Wes Anderson movies, all of them, every single one of them, like Royal Tenenbaums. Um, what is the other one? Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Like Wes Anderson's humor is so awesome. Moonrise Kingdom. I love his humor so much. I love his directing. I love Richard Linklater a lot. He directed Boyhood. I feel like his scripting and the amount of attention to detail he puts, it's like unparalleled. I haven't seen many scripts where it feels like a real actual conversation. You're not like disconnected from it, even though he uses kind of like big words and stuff when he in his dialogues. Like it never feels like it's forced. Like his actors generally can get away with it, and I just love like the human feel of it. Like there's not necessarily always a point. Exactly, it's just more about the moment. And I feel like as someone who really values moments to moments, like I'm kind of like when I'm really in a moment, I really want to enjoy it. Like that's why I love his movies. I love Quentin Tarantino movies. I love Sin Cities, Kill Bills. Like his again his humor is awesome. Like I love how over the top he is. Like how like people can I don't know get like multi kills all of a sudden, or like jump off buildings and be alright. And like all his movies are just like super racist, but like not in a mean way, just like in a historical way, but like over the top. So it's like super funny if you're like open to that. That being said, I didn't like his most recent movie, the whatever seven, like the God, I forgot what it was. It's like the movie Danger Seven or some crap. Like it was pretty brutal. I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, but if I would watch it again, I'd probably like leave like halfway through just because like it wasn't like it's kind of like a one trick pony in my mind compared to the other movies. Oh, thanks, Be Neutrality. You left already, probably. GG. Hey, Fluff. Who are you coaching? Oh, I finished coaching Bamboo. Sorry. It was like a 2 hour. It was like an hour and a half session. Fluff, how do you win the Sentry War in the off lane or mid lane in Viz Heroes? I find I'm usually trading sentry to tangles even if I have pre-placed an enemy. Your other support should have it. One sentry or dust. With the sentry war, you really only can work with what you got. Give one to mid. Try not to lose it. Place yours conservatively, like in a nice spot where they can't easily deward. Buy tons of sentries in the game, but in the laning stage, like, they're designed strategically to have more than you, by virtue that your resources are limited, so don't feel terrible that you can't deal with it. That being said, your 4 position should probably pick up a dust so that, like, you can punish moves more than, like, being reactive. Like, you can be aggressive with a dust, for example, compared to a sentry at times. Using quick cast as well? Well, I like quick cast sometimes, certain things, not all. Not really sure. I mean, Hateful 8, yeah. Magnificent 7 plus. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the thing is that, like, I feel that I disclose certain information that I don't necessarily want to disclose, but by virtue of the video being so long and gratuitous, like, only the people who really, really want to watch it will watch it, kind of like a podcast. And basically no one will summarize it, so there's no TLDR for people. So I will upload the session based on that. And yeah, I guess I'll just wrap it up here so I can cut it off and, I don't know. Just, okay, here we go. Fuck that. Thanks for watching, guys. If you watched all the way to the end, or at least you watched from the beginning to this point, you're a real trooper. I like to talk. When I speak, I have no reference to time. So a lot of times I'll just constantly go on and just build off whatever bullshit pops in my head. So that's why I talk so much. I would say follow me on all this stuff and whatnot, but it's like, no one actually gives a shit about you unless you win. And obviously I'm not winning. So, like, my opinion's not valid, even though I've been to, like, multiple TIs. And I've been a competitor. I don't really care about that, I guess. It's just, like, kind of realize that there's no point in saying that. It's just, like, it doesn't matter unless you win. That's the way the community works. And it's a shame because I feel like I have a lot of good things to say and a lot of positive, like, things to give to the community. Like, I have gifts to share and I would love to share them. However, that's just not, like, the reality we live in. So that's partially the reason why I don't do these more, or that I don't, like, stream more, make more videos, or, like, things I do are heavily, like, inspiration based and stuff like that, not really consistent. Because it's like, it's one thing to be passionate about something, it's another thing to be passionate and not being rewarded in a way, because, like, I have to live my life as well. And if, like, monetarily, or at least in terms of, like, satisfaction, like, if I'm not being, like, rewarded for things like that, then there's, like, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense for me to, like, keep doing it. And the only reason why I do things like this is because I genuinely, deeply, empathetically like, see the things that people deal with, and I want to help them because I've been there myself and I've been a part of this community for a long time. And yeah, I mean, like, that's just how it is, I guess. But, like, I do it because I love it. I don't make anything off of it, like, hardly ever. Like, I really appreciate my subs on Twitch because, like, every month at least there's some sort of stable income, at least. Like, it's not making or breaking my life, but it's just nice to know that even if I don't stream, like, every single day, it's like there's always going to be this homeboys there. It's got my back, the OG fans and even the new ones as well. Like, welcome everybody, but it's like, there are just people, like, when I come back to my stream, and there's still, I still see that you're subbed or like you resub. It's like, thanks, bros. Like you guys are the realest. I try to be real with you. Thanks so much. I'm gonna I think I will sign off and eat some food because I have not eaten all day. And I'm gonna upload this. And that's it, guys. Take care. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. It says I'm being hosted by one channel. Thank you. It's probably a joke. And yeah, like maybe I'll stream some more. We caught up on my brother's homework, so I'll be able to